G'day folks and welcome to another episode of The Breakdown brought to you by Newstead Brewing. We're at Ballymore filming today and as usual I'm joined by commentary regular Jaybor Staunton.
Hello.
Our special guest this week, he's the self-proclaimed most abrasive player in reserve grade, Hunter Thomas. He's notching 400 for the Doggies this weekend. How are we, mate?
Mate, very good. Busy week with all the media. Media hype around it, mate. But,
I know, mate. You're getting a run of the Courier Mail, mate. What the hell?
Oh, mate, I don't know. Just giving the people what they want, Sauce. So.
You're a media tart, Hunter.
Now, mate, I know there's a lot of questioning as to whether or not you've actually hit 400 caps, mate. Can you please clarify for us here and now how, at the ripe old age, how old are you again?
I'm 34.
Bloody hell, you're old. How do you notch 400 games, mate?
Well, mate, you pretty much play every game you can off the bench, and you're just this absolute tragic, and you start up your own Friday night side, and you play 4 years of playing Friday nights and Saturdays. So
You spent a bit of time riding the pine, mate.
yeah, mate. You know, I haven't always had the good grace of all my coaches. So you know, but they always come crawling back when there's a few injuries. So
Don't worry, mate. I've been there too. Call me Hoogs. All right, let's get into it. East v West. It was a great game for the Tigers, getting up 24-22, but it was an absolute mud bowl. Jay, what was your take on this one, mate?
I'm just glad I wasn't commentating it because you literally couldn't tell who was who out on the field. But the Doggies, they're their own worst enemy. I mean, they scored, three tries from a rolling maul off a line-out, something they haven't done all year, and they do it against arguably one of the top two forward packs in the competition, but then they can't ice the game out in the closing minutes or score enough points to be able to win the match. So it's just not good enough by the Doggies, and deservedly so. They're probably missing finals now. They've got the bye in the final round of the season. So look, it's the one that got away for them. Well, it's probably the five or so that got away in the past 5 weeks. But East, they're now in the top four and they're looking pretty good.
Nah, Hunter, mate, it was that bloody wet out there, mate, that you guys in reserve grade had to play on the backfield.
yeah, mate. Yeah, it was actually the backfield was in pretty good condition.
The Bottomley Park sand dunes, mate.
Yeah, well, mate, yeah, we're playing on the sand's always better than the mud. So they say. But, yeah, mate, it was a pretty horrid affair out there for, I think, both East and West on Saturday. But, yeah, once again, Jaybor said it. The boys were their own worst enemies, but they've been doing it the last kind of 4 or 5 weeks. You know, they're such a talented young group of blokes, and when the going's good, everyone's up for it. Everyone's they're all playing together. They're all backing up each other. They can score points. You know, that first round they were just on fire. But you know, they're getting themselves in these positions that they realistically shouldn't be in, and there's too many guys trying to do it all themselves instead of, you know, one level head just kind of stepping up saying, boys, that's it, the old adage, it's 0-0, let's go again. But, you know, instead, there's one out, everyone's trying to kind of do it themselves rather than playing as a team. So I'm not with Jaybor saying that they're out, you know. Two bonus point wins against two tough opponents. It is possible, but the boys have just got to, you know, they just got to show a bit of belief and really kind of rip in the next couple of games. But credit to East, they played better into that. So.
True, well, obviously the results on the weekend now see East in the top four. They're now a 4th spot. As you mentioned, if West want to sneak back in there, they need a couple of results. But, mate, I suppose the real action for you on the weekend, mate, wasn't on the field. It was off it. Hung around at Tigerland and, you know, took in all that great clubhouse down at Dave and Wilson Field has to offer, mate.
Let's call it what it actually is. Hunter's an absolute pest. And you couldn't get rid of him.
No, well, mate, Simo, the Premier Grade Forwards coach, I actually did fair whack of my apprenticeship with him.
Okay. Old Craigie.
Yeah, so, mate, just hung around to watch a final, catch up with him, have a few beers and a bit of a yarn, and then, you know, the boys put on the ordinary rig competition, so I thought I'd hang around a little bit more for that, throw a bit of banter. Matty Brandon was there. I kind of, you know, twisted his arm to come down for one of my last games down at Tigerland. So
The Fossils reunite.
yeah, so catching up with those guys was good, and there was a lot of good banter and kind of fun going on at the club. So
Trying to decide who's got the more ordinary rig out of you and Brando is
yeah,
almost impossible.
mate, 5-6 years ago, it was definitely me, but Brandon's really let himself go the last couple of years. I think, mate, his missus said he had about 5 Tiger burgers on Saturday.
I'm sure there's plenty of good chat about the 4th grade result as well, mate.
Oh, mate, everyone's talking about that chip and chase he did down the sideline, mate.
What can I say, mate? Wind back the clock.
No one cares, Sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, come
On to the
man.
next game.
I scored for the first time since 2013, mate.
How many nudie runs have you done?
I've actually managed to dodge the lot of them.
Frigid.
Cat.
Just working, mate, trying to get back to footy.
Sure, mate.
So moving on to the second game from round 15, it was a clash between UQ and Sunnybank at Old Mac Oval. The students getting up 22-19. Big game on a couple of fronts. The Mellor boys returning home to Sunnybank for the first time since both of them joined UQ, and they came away with the chocolates, mate.
Yeah, good on them. They've been playing really well. It's taken them a while to sort of swing into the season, but they've, in a forward pack that's had a few changes, they've been two of the most ever-present players there, and they're starting to play really good footy over the last month or so. But I think the inclusion of SJ Tamala has been absolutely massive as well. So they're starting to really get their forward pack firing. But the one thing that Uni are doing that they really haven't, not so much that they haven't done it, it's just they haven't had to do it over the last sort of 10 years under Hino, is win dirty, scrappy, tough fixtures. And they've done that for the past 5 or 6 weeks. Not that they haven't done it. We saw in the grand final a couple of years ago when they dusted Jeeps. Pat Murray and was going toe-to-toe with Radiki Samo. They can play tough footy, but they rarely have to. This year they've done it. They're making me look like an idiot. I said on the breakdown, I think a couple of months ago, that they weren't going to be making finals. Now they're third, and deservedly so.
Yeah, mate, they're definitely playing some, as you say, like it's not necessarily pretty footy, but it's good footy in terms of the fact they're just going to work and getting results, and you can't really argue when you get in the W, can you?
No, not at all.
A bit like when Jack White was coach of the Brumbies and people used to complain about the kicking game. Well, they made the finals.
Who cares?
100%. Hunter, you've obviously been around club rugby for a very long time. UQ and Sunnybank, they've had a massive rivalry over the years, which has probably sort of dropped off a bit in recent years. But, you know, another close fixture, mate. Bit of club movement between the two sides. What did you take away from this one?
Mate, I only caught the highlights of this one, but, you know, they're from where both the clubs were, or both the sides were probably, you know, 6-7 rounds ago. You know, they obviously changed coach over at Sunnybank. Something's kind of started to click over at UQ. It looked like actually, you know, in the wet, it looked like a pretty good game of footy. So, you know, anyone that's got to come up against those two, you know, Sunnybank, yeah, they're out of the picture, but they could swallow a lot of parties if you look at the last 3 games. And, you know, yeah, UQ have got 2 really tough games that they need to win to kind of cement their spot in the top 4. So it was, and they looked like they both played like they were kind of playing for their season on Saturday. So,
And another tight game with, you know, a team at the bottom of the ladder in Norths against, you know, reigning premiers Jeeps. Jeeps getting up 21-16 in the end. You know, as a return of Ruan Smith, he had a good game for the Gallopers, but, you know, once again, we're seeing the sides at the lower end of the table really competing well against the sides who are in the top 4 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, really, Norths could have very easily come away with the buttered confection in this one if it wasn't just for Jeeps just being a bit better. I think any other side outside of, you know, Jeeps or Brothers would have lost that one. They were just able to strangle them a little bit in that second half, and credit to them for doing so. But can you imagine just 15 Nick Chapmans on the field for the Eagles? They would decimate every team in the competition. I think he picked up all 16 points for them on the weekend, playing at fly half. He is an absolute superstar, and he should be playing NRC this year. Yeah,
no, it'd be good to see him get a run around. Good Noosa lad. I don't say that too much often about Noosa boys, but, you know, eat my words.
You're a snob, mate. You're a snob.
No, mate, just my USC ways. Now, another fella that turned out for Norths on the weekend, Sefa Naivalo had his first run, the Fijian flyer. Obviously, he was not that Wallaby squad to go overseas, so good to see him have a run. But, you talk about Norths and the way they compete, Jay, at the moment. We've still got two sides in East and Bond that have to play Norths in these final few weeks. And the Eagles could potentially really have a massive impact on who plays in the top 4, Hunter.
Yeah, well, mate, it's like Sunnybank. It's that's what I love that's happened with, the Premier Rugby over the last 3 or 4 years. It's literally on the day, it's anyone's game. Probably Jeeps with that form side last year. It's now brothers. Apart from that, I think any matchup is kind of, it's a flip of the coin. So, yeah, they could really spoil some parties.
Well, no, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks of footy over the next couple of weeks, because I don't think we're going to know what the top 4 is until after full time around 18. Now, our match of the round for last weekend, Bond getting up 48 to South 31 down at the Canal. Jay, you were there commentating, mate. Bond came out of the blocks firing in this one.
They were absolutely red hot. Corbin Kiernan, that 27 or so minutes he played before he suffered that shocking leg injury, he was absolutely ridiculous. I think he set up a couple of tries, had a few line breaks, scored the first try of his own. Thoughts go out to Corbin coming back from a 3-month shoulder injury and then a devastating leg injury as well. But I thought when he went off, myself, Hamish and Ned, my co-commentators, we all thought maybe there might be a change in the way they were playing, because I don't know what it is. The drainage on that field is ridiculous, because they were playing side-to-side footy like it was an absolutely red-hot dry track, but they were awesome, and they even kicked it up a notch. Dan Boardman stood up massively in the absence of Corbin Kiernan, but Bond, I reckon, are going to be playing finals footy. They're 2 points outside the top 4. They've got a good run in the back end of the season, and they are playing so well at the moment that they are going to absolutely smoke teams. And if they do make the finals, they go on a run and they get there, they can absolutely belt anyone.
Yeah, mate. I mean, as you say, they're in red-hot form. To come off a bye and play that way, when most teams we've seen this year coming off the bye have probably struggled a little bit to get back in their rhythm. It was really impressive to see. And, you talk about the way they're playing footy. So, Max Dowell suffers a broken jaw, goes off at half-time. We see Frank Callagher come on the wing, and then Joey Fiddock sets him up for a try in the opening minute or two.
34 seconds into the second half.
100%. How awesome was that effort from Joey?
Oh, ridiculous. But that's the thing. You've got Harry Nusafora. Last year was an absolute belter of a year for him, and he's starting to find that form again. Mitch Third, he's been out for so long, but he's now starting to absolutely kill it. Dan Boardman is an absolute gun. Joey Fiddick's been playing the best footy he's been playing. Connor Pritchard is an absolute steal and a half wherever he's come from. Zimbabwean sevens. Like, they are legit. And when you can bring guys like Dylan Rowe and Frank Callagher off the bench, mate, they are stacked to the gills and they're going to rip in.
Yeah, well, the other fella that we saw turning up for South, Chris Ferway-Sortia, awesome to see him back in South colours. Teddy Teller was there as well. But Hunter, mate, the Bond boys really seem to, stifle their impact on the match. They really managed having those guys on the field and playing against them really well.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, once again, I only got the highlight to this game, but there were some very good tries from the Bond side. But even it looked like their defence was quite staunch, and they really kind of took the spark out of a few of their runs. But to be able to, everyone saw what Chris Ferway-Sortia did for South in that 2015 series, and what a weapon he is at club level footy, and to be able to kind of keep a goal at that control is massive effort from Bond. So yeah, it's full credit to the boys.
Full credit to the boys.
Hell yeah.
Mate, one new face from Bond on the weekend, mate. Dalton, Irish lock from Ulster under 20s. How good was he, mate?
He was awesome. He's a massive unit, but he fits so well into that Bond style of play, because they are happy to bounce out 3 passes off the first phase and then bounce back 3 passes the other way. And you find guys like Matt Dalton on the fringes, who's absolutely massive and a great set of hands for a big unit. But then you've got guys like Zaki Moi in the midfield who can get the offload away. He really complements the play well to how Bond want to play. They want to keep that ball in play. They want to play high tempo footy. They want to run you off the park. And someone of that size to be able to come in and be able to do that and fit in so well, awesome. And I think he even picked up a try to be able to compliment himself. So good on him.
No, he was awesome. I thought Ralph Avalu was awesome for South. Obviously scored a couple of tries.
Ralphie's always good for South.
Yeah, no, mate. Another weekend where he's come to the game and had a massive impact. And I suppose a special shout out to Alex Ung as well. Earned his 100th cap on the weekend.
Yeah, Centurion picked it up, sitting on the wing in place of Maury Wangavalangi, and actually picked himself up a bit of meat as well. So congrats to him.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be tough to see what happens with South the next few weeks. They've got a bye this weekend, which could potentially hinder whether or not they can get back into the top 4. But obviously they've got the cattle to get the job done. So I suppose we'll wait with bated breath to see what happens in rounds 17 and 18. All right, so round 16 of the Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup kicks off this weekend. Our first game to take a look at is GPS v Sunnybank at Yoku Road. An important day for the Gallopers, with the club wearing charity jerseys in support of Ronald McDonald House and Pancare. Jay, tell us a little bit about Pancare, mate, and just how much this game is going to mean to the Jeeps boys.
Well, it's absolutely massive. So I've made mention of it before. Julian Jeffress, one of the nicest, gentlest giants you'll ever meet, and an absolute Jeeps man through and through. He's unfortunately been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and of all the major cancers, it has the highest mortality rate. I think less than 10% within 5 years do unfortunately succumb to pancreatic cancer. So he's doing a great thing. He's really getting out there and trying to raise much needed funds and awareness for pancreatic cancer, and that's exactly what Pancare does. It helps to support those either battling it or those trying to support those that are. So a really good thing that he's doing. I actually had a chat to him, I think, yesterday, and he was saying that they've sold over 200 plus tickets for the marquee out there, so it's going to be absolutely massive. It's a great thing they're doing, and if one club can really get around it, it's definitely Jeeps. So there'll be a lot of families out there. They'll be getting stuck in. I think it's going to be an absolute ripper of a day.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive day out there. I know the marquee's going to be absolutely pumping. Our predictions for this one: Hunter, Jeeps versus Sunnybank, mate. Who do you reckon is going to get the chocolates in this one?
I'd say it's going to be Jeeps, but as before, I want Sunnybank to do well. They're kind of playing a few of the guys that we need to kind of knock off in the last 2 rounds. So and it's good to see that Ev's turned that club around in the last kind of couple of weeks. So hopefully it's a close one, and I think inclusions to their scrum from guys like David Feo should really kind of help them. But bolster that kind of forward pack and take away that starch from Jeep set piece. But the Jeeps, they have been a bit kind of stuttery the last kind of 3 weeks. But I think at home, big home game, they'll just be too strong.
Thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, agreed. I'd like to say Sunnybank just because I want them to get the W. They've been so close over the last month, but. Look, I mean, even without the Smith twins there, they've still got Jethro Fellamy and Fred Burke, who just absolutely froth scrummaging. So they could put some absolutely immense amount of pressure there at scrum time. And yeah, at home, in front of a raucous crowd, big day, charity round. There's too much at stake. Jeeps will get the butter confection.
Yeah, no, I think Jeeps will get the chocolates. But if we look back to last year and the absolutely impressive season Jeeps had last year, and Sunnybank obviously had a really hard year, Sunnybank beat Jeeps. It was at Old Mac Oval, but stranger things have happened.
Agreed, and they nearly did the number on them at Old Mac Oval earlier this year. So
True.
Who knows? Anyone on their day could win, but I think Jeeps go too.
Hey, Jaybor, are you going to finish that beer?
You go, bro.
Yeah, cheers, man.
All right, good to see we got our priorities straight. All right, East v North, so we'll throw straight to you, mate. We'll let that one air for a bit.
Yeah.
What are your predictions for this one, mate?
Once again, mate, I want Tigers. I want the North to get up over Tiger.
What was that? You want the Tigers to win?
Nah, we need North to win once again.
Don't confuse him.
Yeah,
It's hard for him.
Using the words is a big thing for me. So. Nah, it's I think East have finally found some form. Speaking with Simo last week, he's quite confident that they're going to actually have a fairly good run, and it's a young playing group. You got the kind of those few of those Fijians that are really kind of stepping up and doing their job. So Once again, my heart's saying North, but I put my house on it. Yeah, it's East. East always play well at home with that. What is it, the 16th man or the Tigers?
The
down
third
there?
half.
Yeah, the third half. Yeah, so, but if you're putting your house on it, Matty Brandon, 4 Tiger Burgers before half time.
Okay. did you have that in your notes, mate?
No, mate. That wasn't in the notes. That's just up here, mate.
That's all there. Okay. So you got the mental picture of Matt Brandon eating 4 burgers.
4 Tiger Burgers.
Yeah, you see a man like that put away 4 Tiger Burgers. That's seared in your memory, that one.
So, mate, he's going to put Felly to the sword soon.
Whatever gets you going, mate. All right. Well, Jay, I think the last time North and East played, mate, I stitched myself up. So I'm not going to make any predictions here because anything could happen. But
No.
I'll leave you to potentially make a mistake, mate.
Nah, mate, I'm not an idiot. Well,
You are.
I am. But I'm actually going to say Norths because I just want them to win because of the Doggies and so on. But also just because they've been good. They've been really, really good. If it's a dry track, Nick Chapman shows up, Sepha gets in the mixer again, I don't know. They've just been looking good. And the Tigers have been hot and cold on occasion this season, and they got dusted last time. I'm just going to go Norths, just why not?
Well, I will point out, like the last time we had in that match, we had a bunch of blokes out. We've actually been pretty consistent with selections at Tigerland over the last few weeks, which I think has really helped.
Yeah,
and
sure,
actually cementing, Frampton at 10, and having, the ability to play Pilsy and Phoenix at 9, and Dylan Toketto Simpson at the back's been a good find over the last couple of weeks.
He's been awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm going the Tigers.
Okay, welcome. All right, now one for you boys. West v Bond, obviously an important game for both clubs. Is there any point in asking what your guys' predictions are for this one? Well, no, you go for best. That's simple. Jay, you probably got the ability to be a little bit more somewhere in the middle.
Informed.
Yeah, I think Bond are going to win, eh? I think Bond are going to win this
hot.
one. There's too much on the line for Bond. West have been unable to close out good sides in the last 6 weeks despite being right in it. Bond have the ability to do so. Everything is in Bond's favour. Nothing is in West's favour right now. Plus, I'd love to see Bond smash the Doggies on Hunter's 400th game.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't actually. That would suck. That would absolutely suck. Look, I think the Doggies are going to go down. I'd love to see them get up, but I think Bond are going to be too good.
Right, and Hunter's 400th isn't going to inspire the Doggies, mate.
Oh, mate, it's in reserve.
Afterwards.
Grade, so it'll be 401 if I get on in Prems.
Okay.
But I
So it'll be 400.
401. But anyway, mate, the boys have been, like, obviously Bond have found some form, but majority of it is at home. So travelling up the M1 hopefully kind of hinders them a bit. But, the boys they have been so close the last couple of weeks. I think, last home game of the year for us, it's time for the boys to kind of step up and, start kind of, a few of them, want to go on and play a higher grade of footy, and there's nothing bigger than your final game at home, and you're playing for your season, for your final spot, than to kind of go out there and put on a good show, and
for your 400.
and for my 400. No, but it's their game's got nothing to do with me. It's even reserve grade game, it's got nothing to do with the number. It's really kind of reserve grade. We're about finding our form, going into finals. I still believe that West, they can do it. Results going our way. If we make the finals, we've got that good kind of playing group that we could really shake it up. But, the boys have had that many chances this year. Last week was do or die for us. We didn't get it done. Games fell our way. It's still do or die, and it's time for the boys to step up. So, not just going with my heart. I'm saying informed bet, inside look. I'm going Dogs win.
All right, well, there you go, mate. It's inspiration from the 400 cap Doggy.
I've heard it all before, mate. He's a big old windbag.
All right, well, let's take a look at our final game. And this is going to be the match of the round for this weekend. UQ versus Brothers. It's 1v3 on the ladder. Obviously, Brothers have been in fine form. UQ have strung together a series of wins, and they're in a very different position to what they were the first time these two teams faced off, Jay.
Yeah, very much so. Uni have been looking really good. Uni have been playing tough footy, and Brothers have been playing beautiful footy. So, Brothers play a lot like the UQ sides of yesteryear, the last 5 or 6 years, which can really play a bit hard graft up front, but set that platform for their backline to absolutely go ham. So, this one's going to be absolutely massive. I think a lot of UQ's season is going to hinge on this result. They can still drop it and potentially drop the game the week after against Jeeps and still make the finals. But, that could be a real momentum killer going into finals. Mm-hmm. So if they can actually give Brothers a real shake-up and come away with a W or at least be right in it, it really sets them up really well. So this one's going to be an absolutely belter of a match out there at start to heavy, but I think Brothers are going to be too good.
Now, I think the key for the Brethren here in this one, this is going to be the return game for the 20s boys. Fraser's coming back, Michael Wood's coming back, Harry Wilson will line up. Hunter, mate, I'm sure you probably heard Jay and Chips cheer on about the 20s boys, mate, over the last few weeks. What impact do you reckon that they could have coming back in its Brothers lineup?
Mate, all talented players, and they're all good, level-headed young kids. Like I've started up a bit of a bromance with young Franger. Just ended up randomly on the piss with him at Regatta a couple of times, and then I hung around up there at Brothers, and we ended up back at Regatta. So I shot him a message during the week, and he's gonna come over to my 400th game. But
that's nice, mate.
So, but those boys coming back, he's going to be a massive boost for those guys. But as you know, they've had the bye. They weren't there for the last week, so bringing new players into the fold after a week off, it could be a little bit disruptive to their team, but I think there's just too much class there. So, yeah, I'm going Brothers, but it's going to be a lot different story than it was last round. So,
I think this is probably a good chance to actually see where UQ's really at and whether or not they can have a real shake-up in the finals. So, looking forward to this one. It's going to be a great, cracking game out of St. Lucia. All right, folks, that's it for this week's episode of The Breakdown. Thanks for joining me, Jay and Hunter.
You love it, Sauce.
HT400, get around it.
Well, mate, we've had plenty of chat here tonight, mate, but congrats on the 400th and enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, mate, it should be a cracking day, some good footy, and it's be a ball terror of a night, so looking forward to it.
All right, well, any doggies past or present, make sure you get out and get around Mad Dog this weekend. And for everyone else, make sure you get out and support your local club this weekend in round 16 of the Newstead Brewing Hospital Challenge Cup. In the meantime, keep an eye on the Queensland Premier Rugby Facebook page for more updates.